It's your girl, Ashley. And you know what? Today we're here for a little yap. Oh my god, I should probably say I am the host of the More Myself podcast. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. We need a little catch up. It's been a journey for me to try to figure out the tech of hosting a podcast. I know there are programs that make it easy, but sometimes even those programs make it not easy. But here we are. Thanks for tuning in. As per usual, if you are enjoying this podcast, or even if you're not, and you just want to support me, if you could like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of the things, I would greatly appreciate that. So I want to get real with you for a minute. I have deeply been struggling with my perfectionism recently. I didn't even realize I was a perfectionist probably until a few years ago when it was pointed out by my therapist. Shout out to my therapist. Love you, girl. But I really didn't understand why I always felt this pressure to be perfect or to feel frustrated all the time that I wasn't like really, really good at something. And upon investigation, I've realized that my perfectionism it's a disease almost, right? You can treat the symptoms, but if you don't get down to the core essence of why you're being a perfectionist, you're just going to continue to practice perfectionism. And it looks different for a lot of people. I know in a lot of men I've met who are perfectionists, it manifests as this go-getter, high performer at work type of vibe. But for me, I've noticed that my perfectionism is a more of a self-critique type of perfectionism. I'm not the best at XYZ, so I'm not going to continue to try doing XYZ. Or I'm not creating a perfect podcast, so I don't have the perfect sound bites. I don't have XYZ, therefore I'm just not going to do it. It's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot before you even start. And today we're going to talk about the analogy of flowers and growth. And this is kind of like, if we're talking about that, this is my perfectionism would be I didn't plant the seed in the right place, so I'm not going to water the seed. And if you think about it like that, that's fucking crazy. Why would you, and by you I mean me, why would I take myself out of the game because I'm not the best at everything? It just doesn't make sense. So bear with me in working through my perfectionism to present to you this podcast and everything else I'm going to present to you. I'm really excited. I'm working on a workbook, worksheet type of thing that talks about how you can find your authenticity and how you can live in your authenticity to get the things that you want in life, aka manifest. So that'll be coming out soon. And this is another project where I'm like, okay, Ash, it's good enough. And honestly, my good enough is good. It's not bad. It's a beautiful product. So keep an eye out and I hope you guys enjoy that. And then also, yeah, next we have some guided meditations coming out, something I'm also super, super excited about. Come and get Zen with me. You know, let's tune in, tune out, and learn a little bit about ourselves. So, on to the good stuff. We at Journal Club last time discussed two things. It was all sort of the same concept, but the two things that we're going to discuss today that we did there was the first question was basically, where in the growth process are you? Are you in planted, watering, blooming, weeding, harvesting? We're going with the flower analogy still because it's spring and I love flowers. Girly, in the terms of where are you in your journey? Okay, ponder that for a moment. The second question that we asked was, you know what? I'm going to save the second question till we are done with the first. This way it doesn't get too convoluted. But we're going to discuss the two journal prompts that we did on Journal Club. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so in terms of planted, watered, I was told by a few people that they didn't understand what this meant. So I'm going to do a quick breakdown of what that is. Basically, what it is I envision it this. Let me give an example. Journal Club, I'll put as my example. Just to keep the continuity. Easy, easy. In terms of the process, for me, I think planting the seed was me saying aloud, I want to start a journal club, right? Or I want to start, I don't even know if, I don't remember, but I don't even think I specifically said I want to start a journal club. I want to build community that is in line with things that I deeply value. So journaling just made sense. And what I discovered was that was the seed. I planted the seed, right? I told myself I wanted to do it. I told the universe I wanted to do it. The watering came in trying to figure out how to do it. I think from the point of I want to do journal club to the actual journal club itself coming to fruition, I believe it was 6 months, 7 months, maybe even longer. I really had to plant that seed and let it sit and try to figure out the details. So the watering for me came in discussing it with my community and scouring the internet for places to promote and sitting with myself and what I wanted to talk about and what we wanted the format to be. So that was the watering. The plant, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The planting of the seed was the idea. The watering is the preparation, right, before the bloom. So for me, that also looks like educating myself more and learning different modalities of healing and thinking about and learning about more somatic practices. That's part of the reason why I went back to school to learn somatic trauma therapies so that I can take that and put it into Journal Club. Let's see, what else was watering? Getting my friends on board, asking people for their sage wisdom and advice. Once I did all that, I prepared for the bloom. So for something like Journal Club, the bloom has a particular time frame just because like I'm the one making it bloom. Although I will say that the universe in this case sort of ushered me into June. June, I think, was when it was the first Journal Club. Actually, I don't think, I know, because next month is going to be the 1 year anniversary of it. And that to me is crazy, 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 crazy. And I'm so stoked. Anyway, tangent. That was just a little toot my own horn tangent. Beep, beep. The bloom came, I wouldn't even say necessarily the first Journal Club meeting. Like, I feel like first meeting it was great. Mind you, there were 13 people there, and a lot of these people I didn't know. So that was really beautiful and special to me. The real, what I would say, like we're talking to flower, would be when the first little bud came up. You know, when you plant something and there's a cute little sprout that just like pops up and he's so cute, he's little and he's trying so hard to become a big flower or a plant or whatever it may be. So I feel like that first Journal Club meeting was that first little sprout, if you will. The real blossom came for me not when Journal Club became more popular, as in more people started showing up, but when I started to feel more grounded when pairing Journal Club, when showing up to be like, here is my gift to you, please enjoy it. There was a switch when all of a sudden I didn't feel this intense pressure to create something perfect and magical and curate the experience of every single individual there. The true blossoming came in the release of my anxiety and stress around it. I said, Ashley, why are you stressed about presenting something to people? Like, that's kind of weird. You have a gift that you're sharing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything. Also, if you're showing up to Journal Club, you have an open mind and an open heart, I'm assuming, and you just want to be there in journaling community. You're not caring about things that you don't know about. Y'all don't know what I do or don't say or post, you know? So I truly feel like the blossoming part came not in the actual Journal Club, but inside of me. And when I decided to just let go and not be so stressed about it, because why would I create something I want to be stressed about? I don't want to be stressed about that. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor, and I want others to enjoy that. And guess what they do? That is where, you know, the harvest comes in. So in terms of this, truly think, right? Flowers grow and you cut them and you put them aside so you can watch them. Or say it's a fruit or a vegetable. The harvest comes and you gather all of the goods and then you're able to eat them and use them and replenish your body with it. So for me, the harvesting part was the conversations I'm having there and the feedback I'm getting and people's responses to the things I'm presenting filled me with such a sense of joy and pride and happiness and intentionality and just community and this deep connection to the people around me. And that was the harvest. In terms of a bigger life experience, where am I in my whole life journey as opposed to just a singular thing that I'm doing? It's more meta, right? So you gotta zoom out, and that's kind of hard. That's a difficult journey to zoom out on your life and think about, where am I truly? Not where do I want to be, not where do I wish I was, but truly, 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 where am I? And I feel like I'm in the watering stage. It's that darkness where you've planted your seed, but it's dark, like the seed's underground. You can't see what's happening. This is where you really have to lean in and just trust and trust and trust and trust. And that trust is hard for me. As somebody who not only has an anxious attachment style, but has a deep abandonment issues and a slew of other issues, I guess you'd say. I find this darkness to be deeply upsetting. It's irritating to me. It makes me feel so anxious because I have to release control. And if you're used to always having control, releasing the control doesn't feel like bravery. It feels like terror. It feels scary. Sometimes bravery feels like fear, like you can't tell the difference between am I doing something really scary or am I doing something really brave? Honestly, it's probably both. If you're working through fear, that's bravery, boo. But it's this anxiety that comes with not knowing what's coming next. Or, sometimes the way that my brain works, I plant seeds, but I'm not really sure what the flower is going to be. I'm not really sure if it's going to be a fruit or a vegetable. I'm not really sure if it's going to be pink or orange or yellow. I don't know what's going to come from my manifestations and my dreams. All I know is that I have one and I know energetically how I want it to feel. In terms of my career and what I'm doing in my life, I know how I want to feel in a job. I know what I want to experience, but I don't necessarily know what that looks like in terms of job title or what I'll be doing. I know, for example, that I don't want to work in a corporate job. I just know that about myself. I don't like the confines of an office space. And I know I want to be able to work from my home or outdoors or wherever I want. I know that I want to feel excited and lit up and I want to feel like I'm contributing creatively. I want to be my own boss. So there's just a lot of details that you have to release when planting a seed of any kind. And that is fucking hard. At least it's hard for me. Some people are good. Plant the seed and then just move on with your life. I struggle with the moving on portion, to be honest with you. Maybe we can do this together. Maybe we can work through these feelings together. That's the point of community. And being transparent, that's where I struggle most, is the time between planting the seed and watering and seeing the blossom grow. So for me, someone like me who is anxious, who generally likes control, I have done so much nervous system work to come to a place of regulation where, yes, I will have peaks of anxiety in a day or two, but it'll come back down because I know I got me. And I know that if I am patient and if I truly release and trust, good things will happen. They always do. It's being able to understand the pattern of the way that you manifest, or how do you act before something, big is going to happen. I don't know how to say this without it sounding super woo-woo. For example, I planted the seed of knowing I wanted to build the community and do the thing. And this is an example of where I did trust the universe. And I said, you know what? I don't really know what that's going to be. But like with this podcast, what I did instead of fuel myself with fear and doubt and, anxiety was I went on a walk and I let the universe sort of tell me what I needed to be doing. And I really just let my intuition guide me here. And it all worked out. I think I struggle sometimes with the trust aspect in patience and having the patience to trust. I am the kind of person who, mind you, I also have pretty intense ADHD, so this does not help that. I don't think it's necessarily the only cause of it. Our society is also very impatient, but my lack of patience for myself and the universe is super apparent in these moments after the planting of the seed before the bloom. Is this frantic dog paddling energy of how can I make it happen? How can I make it happen? How can I make it happen? Instead of just trusting that the soil, the water, and the sun are all doing their job to get this plant to grow. So yes, you can support yourself. But for me, I've noticed it has to be from a place of not critique or pressure, but from a place of expansion and space. And you might be asking, well, how do I do that? That's a great fucking question. I have found a few things to be incredibly helpful in this period when you know what you want to do and it just hasn't happened yet, or you have a dream and you can't figure out how to make it come to fruition. I'm saying now, this is the prescription. Plant the seed, have a person that you feel safe enough to talk about these things through. When I tell you the amount of times I have had ding light bulb moments because I was able to discuss these fears, these pains, these struggles, all of this crap with somebody that I deeply trust and feel like I can say anything to, work through so much by speaking through it. And if you don't have somebody that you feel like you can trust like that, that's okay too. Just start talking to yourself. Get out your voice memo app on your phone, or literally go on a walk and talk to yourself. Who fuck cares if you're talking to yourself on a walk? Nobody gives a shit, you know? Talk aloud. Speak through it. There's something about talking aloud that you just process things differently. And plus you can hear yourself. And you're hearing yourself and you're thinking, that's weird. That doesn't seem like something I would say. Or, oh, that is absolutely on brand with something I say. I don't know. There's something about talking about it with somebody, or somebody who also really you trust with constructive criticism. I know that that one's really hard to build in a relationship, interpersonal relationships. It's really hard to build that trust of someone being able to say like, hey, like, I've noticed X about you, or I've seen this pattern from you. But having somebody who can reflect back that pattern for you is so important. If you're not into that, journaling, write about it. I cannot stress this enough. People, I don't like to journal. Call it something else. Call it taking record of your day. Call it inventory. Call it whatever you want to call it. Taking a piece of paper and a pen and just writing is such an incredible tool, and it costs you nothing. You can write with, ice plant on the ground. It doesn't matter. Take your thoughts and get them out of your dome and onto a page. It's such an incredible practice because when you're writing, you have to process things differently. So it's really important that you support yourself in these ways. Even me, as somebody who like really is into this, I still forget that I have these tools at my disposal, which is so crazy, right? I'm literally studying this and I'm still like, wait, what do I do? I'm stressed. Girl, do all the things that you know what to do. Something that's helped me is nervous system regulation. I know this is such a buzzword. Nobody knows what it means, but in the most simple form, do you feel calm? Do you feel activated? Are you in fight or flight? Fight or flight being I want to fight or I want to run away. That's fight or flight. And I'm not talking about mentally. I'm talking about physically in your body. What do you feel like? What do you feel? And how can you get those feelings to not be so intense? How can you get to a place where you are calm enough to make decisions? Or you're able to get to the place where you're calm enough to be able to make decisions or to work through things that are difficult and activating. Nervous system work isn't about being perfect. It's not about being calm all the time. That literally doesn't make sense. And that's not what we're after. Nobody wants to be calm all the time. That's not human. Part of our humanness is to be able to experience a wide array of feelings and emotions and work through them together. And you know what? That's what we're going to fucking do. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to do a little practice right here and now in the middle of the podcast. I know we don't normally do this, but I just want we're going to do one arm together. And at the end, I want you to do it to yourself. And I'm sorry if we've already done this one, but it is my favorite and it works so quickly. So you're going to take your right hand. If you're driving, obviously, please don't do this. Take your right hand and you're going to put it across your body and put it on your left shoulder. Now, your hand should be around your shoulder and you're going to give it a little squeeze while you breathe in and you're going to breathe out. And you're going to move your hand down slightly and you're going to squeeze and you're going to release. Really breathe in, squeeze, exhale, release. Slowly down the entirety of your arm till you get to your hand. Then you're going to do the other side. How do you feel? Do you feel good? You should feel pretty chill at this point because that is the whole point. I found that this practice is super simple, but it really, really helps. I do know too. I was talking to my cousin and she's like, oh, my friend is a special ed teacher. And she says they do that to the kids to help them regulate as well. So it's just a really simple tool. You can use it with your kids. You can use it on yourself. You can use it on anybody. You could do it to your animal. I wonder if my dog would like it. Probably not because she's not the kind of dog who'd be like enough to sit there while I did that to her. Coco, my sweet girl. This is the first podcast, side note, that Coco hasn't been sitting here next to me, and that is because she's still sleeping. But, we'll let her sleep. We'll let her get her beauty rest or whatever. Those weirdos who sleep in. I say weirdos only because I'm super jealous because I would love to sleep in, but I can't. I'm physically unable to sleep in. Anyway, I would suggest practicing that tool, especially in the time between the planting of the seed and the watering. So for me, I really feel I'm in that dark place right now. To be completely transparent, I'm floundering a little bit. I'm really feeling the anxiety of this time, and I'm really trying not to fall back into old patterns of when I become overwhelmed with all my feelings. My normal inclination is to fuck it, I give up. And every time I choose to forge ahead and not give up, I'm creating a magnetism inside of me. I'm creating the magic that waters that motherfucking seed, you know? I'm not really sure what's next, but I know that I'm doing everything I can to prepare. And the universe is going to test you. It's going to send you things that offer a way to fall back into negative patterns or a moment to forge ahead in a new regulated state. And it's up to you to choose what you're going to do. I am a human who has struggled with mental health my whole life, literally since I was a young child. So it's easy for me to fall back into old patterns because that's where I feel safe. I feel safe when I'm not doing something. I feel safe when I'm not putting myself out there. I feel safe when I'm not open for critique. But that's just the way it is when you grow up a certain way or you're used to a certain type of mental state. When you change the state, even if it's for the quote better, it's still painful and scary. That's even scarier. Change is scary. So every time I take the step past my fear, past the anger, past the anxiety, past whatever it may be, past the victim mentality, past the why me, like you're telling the universe, I'm not choosing the old shit anymore. I'm going to choose new shit so I can move forward. Also, like if we're sticking with the flower analogy, you want to choose the new shit because it's manure and you can put it on your flowers and they'll grow better. That's so nasty, but like it's actually true. Anyway, I want you to consider, where are you in your life? Where are you holding yourself back? Where are you not even planting seeds? Are you in the darkness before the bloom? Are you in the bloom? Are you in the harvesting? I did my weeding before I planted my seed because my yard needed to be weeded, and my yard being my life. I went through and I picked out habits that I didn't like. I went through and I picked out friendships that were not aligned and thought processes that were not aligned. The second part of this question was, how can you prepare for the next stage? So think about where you are in your life and what part of this plant process are you? And then how can you prepare for the next part? Okay, so for me, preparing for that next part, as we just talked about, was doing nervous system regulation, calming my body, leaning into the fear and anxiety and saying, it's okay that you have these feelings, but how do we move past them? How do we get past these intense feelings? And how do we keep moving towards our goal? For me, that looks like taking baby steps. That looks like not spending too much time in the preparedness section and really just doing the thing. Just jump, do it, plant it, dig it up, boop, bop, cover it up, water that shit, and move on. Let go, let go. That's where I struggle. So in this instance, I would say that for me to prepare for the next step, I want to keep doing those things and learn to trust, really learn to let go, let go. I'll keep y'all posted on how that's going. I would love to hear from you too. How do you let go? Drop it in the comments. Let's get a conversation going because I know that we're also inundated with a lot of information, especially about wellness and mental health. If you're on TikTok or the internet, you're inundated with things. But all it takes sometimes is hearing that one strategy or that one tidbit. And it's like, bing, light bulb moment. I get it. It clicks. Let me know your strategies. I want to know, how do you release and how do you trust that everything's going to be okay, that everything's going to work out? Or if you don't, let us know. What does it feel like? Where are you? I want to know where everyone is at in their stage. I find this to be such a fun and fascinating way to talk about progress in life without having it to be so serious. Flowers are beautiful, right? It's fun. Plus, I feel like all have some basic understanding of how a flower grows. We have to learn about it in school, friggin' plants everywhere. So if you have a house plant, are you a houseplant? Are you a wildflower? What are you? That is our first question that we went over at Journal Club. So this is the type of shit we talk about. I love it. The second prompt we discussed was, what is your most frequent and reoccurring emotion or feeling throughout your entire life? And how has that impacted you in the past, the present, the future, in all of the ways? I find this one to be really interesting because it really gets you to focus on your life as a whole, as opposed to individual traumas or incidents. Take a second and ponder, what is a feeling or emotion that has come up for you repeatedly throughout the entirety of your life? I think for me, unfortunately, I would say fear or anxiety, or fear manifesting as anxiety. I think I've always been, from a young child, just a nervous person. I've always been filled with a lot of stressful energy. I found ways to manage it when I was younger or throughout my life. I would find something that would manage it temporarily, like a sport or a new hobby. But it wasn't really until I started calming my nervous system and taking a look at what's happening in my body as opposed to my head and brain that I really started to see an improvement on my anxiety levels. I genuinely needed to learn how to talk to my body from my brain to connect the two, because there was always this battle. My body would have deep reactions to stress and my brain necessarily wouldn't. Or I would think something and immediately feel shaky or anxious. Like, that's how I know when I'm activated, is my hands start to shake, my voice starts to shake. I've always had this fear, and I've had it in a lot of nightmares and dreams, that if something was to happen to me or attack me, I wouldn't be able to scream. That's a fear of mine, because I get so shaky and I'm just like a little chihuahua, just like shaking all the time. But as soon as I started understanding the way that my anxiety manifests, I was able to help it. Also, going to therapy, very, very, very helpful to have a soundboard, somebody who can help you learn tools to manage your anxiety. I'm no doctor, obviously, but talk therapy is not for everybody. There are so many different modalities of therapy, and there are so many different ways that you can heal and learn. So I encourage you to go on the internet if you're like, I don't want to sit in a room and talk to somebody. You will have to talk to people in therapy. That's true. But you could do art therapy. You could do equine therapy, which is horses. You can do water therapy. You can create your own type of therapy, a habit perhaps. Maybe if you live near the ocean, you can run and jump in the ocean 2 times a week. You can float in your pool. You can take a bath. I'm sorry, it's such a Pisces. All my examples are go in water. But I deeply do believe in the healing power of water. Also, because when you're in the water, you can float. And when you float, you feel this sense of lightness and freedom that allows you to release. You just can release into the space. Some people like to go on a nature walk. Some people like to do guided meditations. This is the time to lean into anything that you think is going to help you. Because as somebody like me whose most reoccurring emotion is fear and anxiety, when you start regulating, the point is to not feel the feelings anymore. The point is to lessen the impact of the feelings. So I may still feel the pain, anxiety, the fear, but I'm feeling it now in a container. It's not expanding and taking over my whole life. I'm not enclosed and encapsulated by my anxiety anymore. I am feeling it, acknowledging it, and moving forward without it. And that, I just got the goosebumps because that took me a long time to be able to do that. And mind you, I still have days where I wake up and I'm an anxious mess and all I want to do is cry today. And that's okay too. It's about not allowing this to change the trajectory of your life. It's about not allowing the fear to dictate what you're going to do. So I'm really curious if any of y'all are open to sharing in the comments here, whatever. What is your most reoccurring feeling and emotion? How has that impacted your life? And how are we going to plan to move forward from that? Do you want that to be your most reoccurring feeling? I don't know. That's up to you. But I'd love to hear from you guys about that. I think it's important to also note that when you're learning about yourself, it is critical, absolutely critical, that you tune out of social media. You tune out of your family. You tune out your friends. It's really, really important to get quiet. I'm not saying you for all of time. I just think that for certain periods of time, to be able to fully embrace you and to learn about yourself, you gotta do it without the bullshit of outside influence. And that's really hard, but the more you tune into yourself, and instead of looking outward for help or whatever it may be, start tuning in. When you have a big feeling, don't run away, run towards. run towards it. Get to know yourself. Get to know your patterns. Get to know your habits. Get to know these things. And the only way you can get to know them is by paying attention, by being mindful, by trying to understand, hey, I feel this weird feeling in my tummy. Am I hungry? No. Okay. Am I nervous? Oh, okay. What am I nervous about? Oh, I have to talk to a friend I haven't spoken to in 3 months, and I'm feeling a little guilty about that. Oh, that's why I'm feeling nervous. Okay. It's just paying attention. I know that when you bring attention to something, it can kind of feel like spotlighting it, and spotlighting can feel scary and so vulnerable. But I hate to say, but growth occurs in vulnerability. You have to do hard things to get rewards. It's like the people who start therapy and then stop before it even gets good. That's difficult. It's hard to heal. It's hard to talk about these things, but it is absolutely worth it. And I don't want to take away from the fact that healing is not just beautiful growth and sunshine. It's pain, it's anxiety, it's stress, it's fear, it's sadness, it's grief. So much grief comes with healing. And being able to lean into it because you're worth it is important. So I want to end this with a little reminder that no matter where you're at in your process, no matter whether you're in a full garden of experiences in your life or you're in the darkness of being a seedling, you're worth it. You are worth the stress. You are worth the joy. You are worth the time and the effort and the pain. You are worthy of everything you desire. Your worth lies within you. Your worth lies nowhere else, inside of you and only inside of you. And it's not until you accept that you are worthy that the world will catch up. So I'm going to leave you with that. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day no matter what you're doing. I love you. Journal Club loves you. And we will catch you in a few weeks.